everybody, we are on Fort Myers Beach, actually, way out here on the pier, looking back at the beach. Josh and I are, and we're going to talk about Fort Myers in this video a little bit, but obviously this is a pretty nice part of Fort Myers, a nice addition to it, and we're going to actually get, though, into the reasons why you might not want to move to a place like Fort Myers, Florida, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton.
I'm Josh Cowan, a local real estate agent here in the Southwest Florida.
Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Fort Myers, Florida, or anywhere in Southwest Florida, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also tap that little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. Now we have people reaching out to us from all over the country with questions about, of course, Fort Myers, Florida, but anywhere in Southwest Florida. So if you have any questions at all about what it's like here in Southwest Florida, then make sure you reach out any way that you know how. We'll always have your back with those questions, and we'll certainly have your back when it comes time for you to make your move to Southwest Florida. All right, so again, we are on Fort Myers Beach, and obviously out here on this beautiful pier, looking back at the beach on a really pretty day. So this is a picture of really what you might think it's like in Fort Myers all the time, but of course realistically everybody knows it's not like that. Now there are a lot of really positive things about Fort Myers. There's a lot of reasons why you'd want to move here, and people that move here probably move here for those reasons, like the weather being warm, and I mean you can just kind of go on and on and on. But there are some reasons that Fort Myers might not be a fit for you, and maybe some reasons that you shouldn't move to Fort Myers. So we're going to get into some of those, and maybe some that you maybe not haven't been on your radar, you might not have thought of in the past, but you probably should.
So, let's talk about what it's like here in Fort Myers, and it may not be exactly what you think. Everybody thinks Fort Myers Beach, you're just living that vacation mindset, beach lifestyle, but that's not how it is. Most of the people that live here may not go to the beach every day or even every week.
Or even any time during the year. Sometimes the beach isn't all that important to people, and people have to work, can't live a vacation life every single day.
Yeah, exactly. It is kind of a, average pace in my opinion. Everybody that's here is here for different reasons, but there are people here that, go to work every single day. It's not that giant city lifestyle, not a Miami where everything's hustling. It's just kind of a average pace, average commute around here, kind of the average amount of people. You do have, fluctuations as far as the amount of people that do come here, depending on the time of year. People come here in the colder months for the rest of the U.S., escape those colder temperatures.
In the tourist season, it's probably a little bit more localized to the beach areas. So if you're in Fort Myers proper, you may not notice really as big an influx of people during the tourist season. So it is a little bit more normal.
Yeah, and during those tourist seasons, if you're somebody that wants to try to avoid that, typically you find those other locations that are kind of like those local hidden gems that tourists don't know about.
Right, yeah, exactly. Every city's going to have those places, and a lot of the tourist traps are the things that people know Fort Myers for. So there's a lot more to Fort Myers than just the beach. And Fort Myers is a normal, everyday city, just like a lot of other cities across the country.
Yep.
So then another thing that a lot of people don't think about necessarily when they come into Fort Myers, or even all of Florida, and especially Southwest Florida, is the wildlife. You get wildlife across the country, but the wildlife here is pretty unique, and it's not like it's out there and you never see it. You can actually interact with, and not always in a positive way, with some of the wildlife around Fort Myers.
Yeah, definitely. One of the big things that I learned first moving here was just, the variety of wildlife. On top of then you have snakes, and some people are scared to death of snakes.
Yeah, I don't like snakes that much.
But then, how many are actually poisonous and how many are actually harmless? And so that was a big thing for me whenever I first moved here, was kind of learning the wildlife in the areas, learning the different poisonous snakes or poisonous bugs out there. There's even bears down here in Fort Myers that people never even think about.
Panthers as well.
Panthers.
Yeah.
All sorts of wildlife. Obviously alligators are huge here.
Birds, which just about hit me in the head as it flew right by.
Yeah.
Not that they're really dangerous, but
definitely birds everywhere.
Yeah, birds all over. alligators, of course. And of course, a lot of these different animals out there, they're not going to harm you, but they definitely could affect small pets. You want to certainly be careful with them. They're out near water, especially. It's something you always have to keep in the back of your head. You're not going to have that in a lot of other places of the country, but Southwest Florida, you will.
Yeah, you may go to take your dog out on a nightly walk that you're used to back home, no problem. Well, whenever you step outside here in Florida, depending on your location, you might want to just, stay alert, keep your eyes out just to make sure that there's not any sort of wildlife just walking around.
That's right, yeah. And then the thing that probably would affect you the most would be mosquitoes. So Southwest Florida, it rains a lot throughout the year. It's very humid, and it's just perfect conditions in a lot of cases when the ground's all wet to have mosquitoes. So they are prevalent without a question.
Yeah, definitely around. And there's a lot of different pest control, different things to help try to combat that, but it's something that some of you guys may not be used to.
That's right, yeah. And if you're really mosquito prone, like my wife, she could be bit by mosquitoes in the winter inside the house. And I'm talking about the winter well away from here, an actual cold winter where you wouldn't think mosquitoes are out. So if you come to a place like this, they're going to be a concern. They absolutely will be. Another thing that you might want to consider if you're moving anywhere in Southwest Florida, especially in this particular area, Fort Myers, are HOA fees or CDDs.
Yeah, so you might be used to having a HOA fee back home, but here they may not quite be as cheap as what you're used to, and that's because of the different kind of upkeep that comes along with those HOA fees here. But it's definitely something that you need to look out for is how much that can add to your monthly, quarterly, annual bill. And then your CDD fees, that's just another annual fee that you're going to pay monthly into your escrow with your property taxes. And those are all things whenever you're looking to relocate and you're trying to fit stuff into your budget that you need to keep an eye out for. Whenever you're looking at a home in a certain area, a certain neighborhood, need to be looking at those hidden costs that you may not be used to.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you get to a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 or more expensive home and you try to break down that payment, sometimes you might not be considering $300 or $400 a month for HOA. And that's something obviously that's going to affect that monthly payment pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
By a pretty big percentage.
Yeah, it can definitely be a big game changer.
Yeah. Another reason that you might not want to move here is the fact that the competition for houses is actually pretty competitive.
Yeah, so you're used to maybe at current times a competitive market, but here it's a hot destination that in Fort Myers every single year the population is growing by 5%. So not only are you dealing with everybody here locally that's looking to relocate, build a new home, or whatever fits them, you also have people from out of state that are flooding the market here. And so if you're looking for a home and you may not be interested in getting into a bidding war, and that's just something to think about whenever looking to move to Fort Myers.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a popular destination spot for a lot of people across the country for a lot of the positives that Fort Myers offers. So like you said, yeah, you could definitely get into a situation where it's very competitive. All right, so another reason, at least that one you probably should watch out for, in addition to the HOA fees and where you could have a $500,000 house that is actually a little bit more expensive than what you might think because of those monthly HOA fees, would be the actual closing costs on your house when you close.
Yeah, so Florida ranks within the top 20 of the 50 states as far as having higher closing costs, and a large portion of those closing costs comes from they call transfer tax or dock stamps, and then they also have the title insurance. So both of those are percentages going off of the price of the home or the price that is on the deed when purchasing the home. And depending on your price range, it being a percentage, then it just gets bigger and bigger the higher price point that you're in, and you may experience closing costs a lot higher than what you're not used to.
Yeah, you could see closing costs well in excess of $10,000.
Yeah.
Where in other parts of the country it might be in the $5,000 range or so.
Yeah, in some states, like the title insurance is something, it's a fee that is set by the different title companies, But you come to Florida, that's a state fee that they're the ones that set that price, and the title companies can't do anything about it. So there is, whenever it comes to the higher portion of those closing costs, it can get difficult to kind of shop around as far as, you know, trying to minimize those lower closing costs.
Right, you're just going to get faced with it and pretty much have it.
Yep.
And I think it shocks people a little bit whenever they see what it's going to cost to actually get that home closed, the extra money that's coming out of pocket.
Right.
It's significant, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely can impact, you know, if you're having to pull money together to do your down payment to get out of PMI, you also got to think about how big those closing costs are and how much money you might have to bring to closing.
Exactly. All right, those are just a few of the reasons why you might not want to move to a place like Fort Myers or Southwest Florida. There are other reasons, of course, and some of those reasons might match up with you. But there are a lot of positives for living in Southwest Florida as well, obviously. But if you have questions about any of the positive reasons for living here if you're on the fence, or even some of the negative reasons because you're on the fence and you want to know which direction to go, then make sure you reach out. And until the next one, we'll see you later.
See you.